So I've been getting a lot of questions about what's going on with the 6.2s. I'm just going to share what I keep seeing. I saved some components. I save a lot of parts, but this one is specifically from a 2018 Chevy Silverado with the 6.2 in it. It was misfiring, and it had a crazy knocking noise at the bottom. I did not see any stagnant lifters, so that when I took the valve covers off and still ran the truck, I was thinking the first thing I was going to see was like a failed AFM lifter. But what was crazy was that the AFM lifters weren't separated. Knew that the problem had to be much deeper. So let me show you what I found and explain what I am personally seeing across the 6.2s right now. So right here, you're going to see the connecting rod bearings. Now they are all pretty much in the exact same condition. For it being a 2018, these are pretty prematurely worn, okay? This is indicative of either contaminated oil or poorly designed and manufactured bearings. What happens is that the metal just starts to like disintegrate, and then it's going to get into the oil, and then it travels up into the lifters. So not only do you start to have a bottom end problem, it's contaminating the entire oil system. Now this also can happen if there is poor oil circulation. You know, there may be a problem with lubrication. I'm not sure exactly where it started. It could have been the bearings themselves. It could have been the circulating oil. These are the main bearings. There's quite a few that are in a little bit of rough condition. Again, they look very prematurely worn for the age of the vehicle, and I do a lot of vintage rebuilds, so I see bearings that are in better condition than this in cars that are 50, 60 years old. That tells me we definitely have a problem. On the camshaft itself, there was only one lobe that I really found that there was a problem with. You could see that it was pretty rough. It feels like somebody took sandpaper to it. That was the only lobe that I saw had an actual issue. Yeah, so I didn't really see anywhere else on the cam, again, except for that one lobe that looks like somebody took sandpaper to it. Again, that lifter could have been having an issue due to the metal contamination from the bearings. It's hard to say. There seems to be a multiple issue with one underlying cause. The biggest problem is that when you have disintegration of bearing material, you know, that starts to leave a little bit of room. The clearance can be slight, the slightest of all, and you can start to hear a little as the pistons are moving, because it's now not glove tight around the crankshaft. And the same thing can happen at the main caps. If you have metal breaking down that is supporting the caps or the connecting rods, you're going to hear some kind of noise. And that little bit of metal that's breaking down all those bearings has to go somewhere. So then it starts traveling through everything, the oil galleys, the push rods, the lifters, and it's going to contaminate everything. So that's going to cause failure in the top end. So I'm unsure if it's a bearing problem, if it's an oil problem. I just know what I'm finding, and it's consistent. So I guess I'll let you know what I find on the 2020 6.2 that we're about to do next.